benefits of the WISC. The WISC serves northern Mendocino County. We have clients that hitchhike from Covelo to the WISC. I don't know that they would hitchhike all the way down to Ukiah for services, but literally hitchhike from Covelo to get to the WISC because they're in family reunification plans and they need certain classes that they could get at the WISC. When you think about the disenfranchised areas of this county, the WISC serves those disenfranchised areas. Supervisor Pinches, some of your areas. So cost benefit, societal benefit, we really weighed that. Now, was that the right thing to do? We think it was. I do understand your questions. You've got good questions, and hopefully we'll get those answers. Regarding the space issue, there's approximately 91 staff at the WISC. So even if we were going to look at reductions in workforce, we would look at reductions in workforce in the agency across the board, and we would do that because of our reduction this year in our revenue with health realignment and VLF, not necessarily reducing all the staff at the WISC. We currently have a committee together. It's called an Infrastructure Management Committee, and we're starting with the Dora Street Complex. Because of all the changes in the agency and the restructuring in the programs, we know that there are space issues today. So what we're looking at is that as we align services, that we try to align the staff in the offices. We currently are looking at the Dora Street complex. We know we don't have enough space at Dora Street or at Ukiah for an additional 91 staff. If we were looking at a reduction in workforce in the agency because of a 5, 10, 15, or 20% reduction in our health realignment or our VLF funds, we still wouldn't be able to fit all the staff from the WISC, even with a reduction in workforce in the Dora Street or the UKO. Certainly with our Infrastructure Management Committee, we will invite General Services to be part of that committee so they could sit there with us and also review the buildings. As far as the square footage, we went with $1.35 per square foot. We did that because that's the average cost that we've used. There's been analyses on the WISC over the past few years. I believe this is the third analysis. This was the cost we used. I think if you bring it down to 80 cents per square foot, which may be the going rate today because of the market adjustment, possibly that's the same cost as what we're paying right now for the WISC. So essentially it might be a wash there. And then I believe I may have answered some of the questions that you had, Supervisor Delbar, but ultimately what I'd like to say is that while we looked at a cost-benefit analysis, and we understand that in today's trying times, that to have 3 different locations for services for health and human services is somewhat of a luxury. If you look at the 3,510 square miles in this county, and I have to say again, we have clients that hitchhike from Covelo down to the WISC for services. I don't know what would happen to those clients. And we have a lot of women and children's services in this county that get those services at the WISC. So along with a cost-benefit analysis, we looked at the societal benefit of the services at the WISC for northern Mendocino County. Any other questions?
Supervisor Koufax.
Yes, I do have a question. I share some of the concerns that Supervisor Delbar has raised, but I was also here with Supervisor Delbar when we actually moved forward the WISP. So both of us, I think, have a proprietary interest in seeing it do well and serve that. However, I do have to say that I think it's a little easier to get a ride in Covelo if you're heading south, whether it's to Willits or to Ukiah. It's awfully hard to get a ride on Route 1 north from a heavily populated area, my district. I think if you're going to make an argument, please do not make the argument that something will happen to the people in Covelo, because you have no argument to make with that regard to what happens to the people on this far south coast. Once again, the thinking here is Ukiah-centric. Somehow what is problematic in the valley is not a problem on the coast. So in good spirit of making your case.
Inclusivity,
yes,
I understand.
Making your case here, I would talk about the good job they're doing, but on the other hand, I can see a gang of people coming from the south coast saying, but what happens to us? You're making a case for the people, poor people in Covelo, I think it's something that probably be best dropped and make the argument on the basis of the good job I think that is being done there and serving the needs in the second and in the third district. The fifth district might get a little bit cranky about it. Thank you.
Okay, Supervisor Pinches.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, for our viewing public, the WISC is a Willis Integrated Service Center. I don't think a lot of people out there, you know, we're making an effort to be televised, so we got to do a little better job in our production here.
You're moving right into a chairmanship.
You know, first of all, Supervisor Colfax, Covelo doesn't have MTA bus service where the South Coast does, so that's one. But, you know, I support certainly the WISC and Willits for a lot of different reasons. But I do have some concerns. You know, if you look at this on page 5, it says the Family Resource Center, they have 440 walk-ins a year. That's less than 2 people a day. And then if you go, their list of the community impact, I think is very weak. For instance, when they say that they would lose the loss of the Family Resource Center classes, child care provided, classes currently are offered, discipline and confidence, breaking the cycle, intake support group, babies playhouse, toddlers, and family empowerment group. The monthly average attendance is 56. That's 2 a day. I think we can do better up there than that. If we're going to have 90-some people working up there, I think we need to maybe outreach and have a little more. I mean, that's you know. And then they say, well, it would be we would lose the community garden. I don't think that's a major impact to the community. And a loss of a water catchment program from the water agency. I mean, if you look at the list, I mean, the community impacts, it's a pretty weak list you're providing there. I mean, that doesn't say much. I mean, I would hope that the community act, if we lost that, would be greater than losing the community garden and losing 2 attendance a day at those child's programs. So maybe we're not doing the best we can. I mean, we have the people up there. Would you say 90-some people working in and out of that
Approximately
center?
91.
Maybe we're not outreaching to enough. I'm sure the clients are there, whether they're walking from Covelo or whatnot. But I'm not so sure we're servicing the people up there as well as we should. And just by your own statistics here.
Yeah. Supervisor Pinches, a lot of the statistics here are based on those clients that might be in CPS services or that are mandated to take courses, and that's why the numbers are, say, 56 a month. So, however, your point is well taken, that are we doing the best to outreach? It's possible we could outreach more.
When you have a program and are only servicing 2 kids a day, maybe are you doing the best job at outreach that can be done?
We can always do better.
Yeah.
Is that it? Okay. Supervisor Colfax, I believe you were next on your general comments.
Thank you.
We can, before, may I?
Sure.
Sure. Miss Angelo?